Why do fathers intentionally abandon their families at Disneyland? Why did Disneyland used to sell lingerie? And why was a Disney employee fired for saving a kid's life? After making over 300 videos, these are the craziest stories I have ever talked about. From terrible parents to insane rules, you don't want to miss a single one of these stories. Here we go. This lady got arrested for wearing yoga pants in Disney World. A few months ago, someone posted that Disney had a dress code so strict that if an employee thought the clothes you were wearing didn't match the standard, they would give you a free shirt so that you could cover up. But as this story went more viral, more people intentionally went to Disney World wearing very revealing clothes, hoping that they would get free stuff. So one day, a woman went to Disney wearing a crop top and extremely tight yoga pants. Now, normally yoga pants are allowed, but they were so tight that when standing in line, a 13-year-old boy took pictures. His mother saw this and complained to security, who then asked her to buy a long shirt to cover up. She was shocked that they did not give it to her for free and that the cheapest option was $50. She refused to buy a new shirt and was told she either bought a shirt or had to leave the park. She started crying because she didn't have enough money. But what's even crazier is that why did this man punch Mickey Mouse in the ribs for hugging his girlfriend? In the fall of 2021, a young couple was visiting Disney World, and they decided to treat themselves to a nice meal at the Crystal Palace, which is one of the nicest restaurants in all of Disney. And what makes this restaurant experience so great is that the Disney characters actually come around to your table and talk to you while you're eating. And this is where the problem first happened. Because the characters are unable to talk, they are only able to take pictures and give hugs to the guests. And when Mickey Mouse reached the table of the young couple, he did the exact same thing he did at every other table, which was give the woman a hug. This made the boyfriend extremely jealous, leading him to punch Mickey directly in the ribs. The person inside of the Mickey costume ended up with fractured ribs, and the man was banned from Disney for life. Disney is not allowed to build any rides over 200 feet tall, and this is why. Disneyland's Imagineers believe in keeping the magic in the parks. One way that they do this is by completely immersing you in the environment. One of the main ways they do this is by making sure that you don't see anything from the outside world. This includes parking lots, tall buildings, and any other structures that might take you out of the immersiveness of a Disney park. The reason that no ride can be over 200 feet is because if a structure is over 200 feet tall, they would have to put warning lights on the top of it for planes. This is why Cinderella's castle is 189 feet tall. This employee saved a child's life but was fired because of it while working at Disney World. A young couple with a toddler of only 2 years old were enjoying a parade going down Main Street, USA. However, while watching the parade, the parents were busy filming it on their phones and were not paying attention to what the 2-year-old toddler was doing. The toddler ran out into the road and was nearly ran over by one of the parade's floats until a heroic cast member ran out into the road, picking up the child and getting him out of harm's way. However, the cast member's foot got stuck under a tire and broke their ankle. She was put into a cast and was fired from Disney World because having a cast didn't fit the magical Disney World look. Disneyland used to sell lingerie in its parks, and this is why. As many of you know, there are many different shops on Main Street, USA when you first enter the park in Disneyland. And when Disneyland first opened, it had troubles financing the park and finding enough sponsors so that it could have money for the park to even be operational in the very beginning. This led to Walt Disney lending out the stores to some less than ideal vendors. One of these would include the Hollywood Maxwell Brazier Company of Los Angeles. But to be fair, in true Disneyland fashion, it even offered a slideshow called The Wonderful Wizard of Bras, which gave a brief animated history of undergarments. Naturally, this store didn't last long as it only was in Disneyland for 6 months. However, it was there in the very beginning, which is why you can say Disneyland lies to you about how long the wait times are for each ride for a very specific and genius reason. Well, there's actually 3 different reasons why they do this. The first reason that they do this is because they want guests to be discouraged at longer wait times to encourage people to go to less popular rides. This would in theory allow for the smaller rides to eat up more of the park capacity while allowing bigger rides like Space Mountain to not have a huge wait for the entire day. Reason number 2 is because longer wait times also discourage people from getting in lines, not to go to less popular rides, but to go and shop and spend more money on food. And the third reason is simply because guests will be happier to wait in a 30-minute line when they were told it was going to be an hour long than wait in a 45-minute line when they were told it's only going to be 30 minutes long. This helps to keep the positive energy up in the parks, and it also helps to bring back more customers so that they can make more money. This mother exposed her child in Disneyland. Louisa Smith was having dinner with her 11-year-old son at the Crystal Palace in Disneyland. Now, the Crystal Palace is considered to be one of the nicest places to eat in all of Disneyland. However, this did not stop this mother from causing a giant scene, ruining everyone's evening. Halfway through their dinner, she stood up, tapping her glass, getting the attention of everyone inside the restaurant. She then announced that her 11-year-old son, John, had failed all of his classes in 6th grade, and as a result, she was shipping him off to a boarding school the next year. The mother left the restaurant, leaving the child crying at the table. This man stole a stroller with a baby in it in Disney World, and this is why. Disney World is the most popular tourist destination for young babies, and because of this, it becomes a prime hotspot for people like Richard McJenkins, who claim to be professional stroller thieves. Richard was walking around Disney World when he saw a bunch of strollers left unattended outside of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. He quickly scooped up one of the strollers, and it wasn't until he almost left the park when he saw the baby inside of the stroller. He tried to take advantage of this by taking the baby into a gift shop and asked to receive an award for finding the stolen baby. But what's crazier is that Disney World is not allowed to let you wait in line for less than 5 minutes, and this is why. Disney World is home to the most popular and most visited theme parks in the entire world, and because of this, one of their biggest problems is crowd management. This is essential because it can completely make or break your experience at a park, depending on whether or not you feel that the park is way too crowded or not. And one of the best options that Disney World has for crowd control is how many people are waiting in lines. You see, Disney actually builds particular rides based on how many people they can hold at a time, such as movie theaters and shows. These help to keep people off the pathways and make the parks feel much less crowded than they actually are. So a general rule of thumb is keep people in lines as long as possible, which is why most Disneyland and Disney World ride have certain pre-shows and things that you cannot skip in line. Fathers will intentionally abandon their families at Disneyland, and this is probably one of the most heartbreaking and sad stories that I have ever heard about Disneyland. In 2022, an 11-year-old child was apparently told that his dad was going to the restroom while in the Indiana Jones line. The father never came back, so the child seeked out a cast member, and unfortunately, they confirmed that the father completely left the park. Cast members have said that this is actually something that happens fairly often, as parents think it will soften the blow of abandoning their family if they do it at Disneyland. But I think most people would agree that it would ruin Disneyland for life, and it is incredibly sad that